Retro Ghetto.
Hi everybody and welcome to what is the first of the Retro Ghetto vlogs. I want to start by just basically explaining what we're going to be doing here. I'm hoping to do like a weekly vlog of everything that I get up to in and around this room. So basically anything that involves my hobbies, video games, hunting games, toys, etc, all that kind of stuff. The constant changes that we'll be doing in here, which I've got quite a few planned today. That's all the kind of stuff that's going to be getting covered on these largely unedited vlogs. Are just going to be quite raw footage of basically what is a week in my geek life. Obviously I'm not going to be recording all my family in the main house and all that kind of stuff, just what I get up to in and around my hobbies, and everything that I don't deem relevant to make a whole video out of. A mainline Wednesday video, which won't change by the way, it's still going to be the same effort applied to the Wednesday videos. But yeah, I figured today was a good day to start these vlogs. Largely I couldn't do these until I filmed my room tour, because obviously it'd be impossible to do it without showing you everything in the room. But also I've got a few home improvements that I want to do in here today. So yeah, let's have a look at the state of the room right now. Okay, so it's a bit of a mess. First things first, we need to tidy up in here. Standard cup of tea. I mean, you guys will probably get to see I'm largely boring. I play video games, I try and look after my family, and I drink a lot of tea. But aside from that, there's quite a lot of constant changes in here that I want to document throughout. Whilst this is here, this is the reason I'm making a late start today. Mrs. Retro Ghetto bought me Cuphead. Actually, Retro Ghetto Junior, sorry. Bought me Cuphead for Christmas, and that has largely taken over my life for the last few days. But I also want to talk about these. This was sent to me, these Joy-Cons were sent to me by, where are they? This company here. Very kindly sent to me, NYXI, Hyperion. Guys, I hope you know well enough, I'm not the sort of guy that's just going to sing something's praises because somebody sent it to me or because they asked me to or anything like that. This company reached out to me and said, would you be interested in looking at these? I said yes. Let me tell you, I love these things. I'm very skeptical about third-party things. I always try to buy first-party controllers and stuff like that, but I'm just going to go out and say it. I prefer these to the original Joy-Cons. These are brilliant, and they all sort of light up as well. Let me see if I can turn it on. As you can see, look, they all light up, and like when you go on YouTube, they all go red, and it seems to be like color coordinated. They feel brilliant in your hand. They're chunkier. I largely play my Nintendo Switch docked, but I much prefer playing it in handheld now. I've got these. I love the way they look, I love the way they feel. Shout out to this company. If you are in the market for Joy-Cons, I'd definitely recommend these. Any experience I've had with Nintendo Joy-Cons has always been Joy-Con drift. I've used these a lot because obviously since I've had Cuphead, these have been through the wars, let me tell you. Speaking of my experience with them so far, they're fantastic. Any criticisms I do have would be that on the back it sticks out slightly, look. It doesn't really matter to me the way I hold it, but I think maybe it would have been nice if they could have found a way to sort of maybe ease that step in there a little bit towards the Switch itself. And also because this variety is clear, it's a very smooth plastic, so over time when your hands do start to sweat, or if you're eating Christmas snacks you get a bit greasy, it does retain that a bit, so you do have to wipe them every so often. But other than that, I can't praise these things enough. And yeah, 100%, if you're in the market for Switch Joy-Cons, I'd definitely consider buying these. Listen, I'm not getting paid to do this. It's no promotion. I'm not getting a kickback. I mean, there probably is a code they want me to give you, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it with you guys. If you want to have a look at it, have a look. But it definitely get my vote of approval. Right, let's make our way around here. Then I've got to tidy up. This is the remnants from the last video that we filmed, which was the mint versus non-mint video that we filmed. Here's Flintstone still sticking out from when I filmed that scene. Mortal Kombat, because what tends to happen is when I put new games in now, everything has to move along one, so Mortal Kombat would have been here, so that would have come out, this would have moved along, that's now gone on the floor. We're getting less and less space for my God of War collection, which, yeah, that just tends to be the way. Every time I put new games on the shelves, I tend to have to move a few things around, but definitely need to tidy up. I've got Christmas chocolates, biscuits, all sorts stacked up here. Bought a heater recently, no one cares about that. But just so you guys are aware, this is where I film. So when I'm filming a video, this stool here for the Xbox kiosk, that gets moved here. So this is the backdrop that you normally see. And then I put my camera and everything where Kratos is now. So I lift Kratos off, get my camera lighting and everything set up there. and then I basically sit here and look at the camera, so that's my view if anybody's interested. So let me take you to, actually before I get into this big addition here, some more stuff we need to tidy up, some remnants of Christmas chocolate, some Posca paint pens the missus bought me. I do quite a bit of art, yeah, and I'm hoping to get a project done with these, which I'll hopefully be showing on the channel later on. We have had some new SNES games, which we'll be getting into on some pickups at a later point. This was a present I actually bought Mrs. Retro Ghetto. This is Orchids, I believe, the Lego Orchid set. Really nice set. I won't be living in here, but I just put it in here for now because we're still doing a lot of renovations on the main house, and we don't want to get it broken. So yeah, shout out to Mrs. Retro Ghetto for building that one. Right, so the elephant in the room, the biggest addition I think since I filmed the tour, has got to be this guy. Look at this. So this is a standee from the God of War post Ghost of Sparta game on the PSP. I'd never seen this before. I didn't know it existed. I've never seen it on a group or anything. Very, very happy to have this. Shout out to Eddie Rollercore. He actually found this. It's a big, long story. I think it was probably 18 months to 2 years ago. He sent me a picture of this, said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Hell yeah, I want it." I think he bought it and loved it so much he wanted to live with it for a while, which is absolutely fine because I've been more than busy getting this room built anyway. So yeah, Eddie's had this in his games room for, I don't know, a year or so, and now it's finally come to its forever home with me. So one of the things we're going to be doing today is trying to find a home for this. My initial plan, because I left purposely some real estate here above the TV, and this is very much a PlayStation wall as well, right, with the Grand Theft Auto and the PlayStation store display light there. So the plan was to put it above the television. I think it's too big. I'm gonna have to measure it. We might have to modify it slightly to get it up there, but that is definitely my plan as to where I want to put it. But we're gonna get to that in a minute. But man, I love this standee. But yeah, first things first, I'm gonna have some breakfast and then we're gonna crack on. Do enjoy poached egg and bagels around Christmas time. This is the last of the pack. Christmas is officially over. Let's do this. Okay, that's breakfast done. Back in the room, and it's time to see if we can get this bad boy placed. I've had a bit of a tidy up. So the stuff from the video's been put away. Flintstones has got its home. Shout out as well for anybody that watched that video. I actually had tonsillitis over Christmas. I couldn't really speak for about 5 days. Luckily, antibiotics kicked in about Christmas Day, so I was able to eat my Christmas dinner without too much pain. But yeah, literally I had like half a packet of like throat sweets to get me through that video. But yeah, I don't think you could tell on the video, so I was happy enough with that. But anyway, yeah, back to the matter at hand. This, I want to go above the TV. I just think the shape of it will be really good to go above the TV and that artwork. This is probably my favourite artwork from all of the God of War games. I just think it's such a great action shot. I know I'm not going to be able to get this bottom piece on display. It doesn't really matter. Don't need to be able to read that. And looking at it, there would have been something here. There was probably like an additional piece that would have stuck out, like a 3D piece that probably says Ghost of Sparta or coming soon or whatever. But again, as much as I do like the 3D elements, like you can see with this Rugrats one here, it does make them a bit harder to display. So it's not imperative that that's on there for me. So what I need to do is measure how much space I've got from the tip of the light, or the bottom of the light should I say, to the bottom of the TV bracket, which you can see here. Hopefully it's not wider than the TV, which I don't think it will be. This is a 55-inch TV. So yeah, I'm gonna go and measure both because I'm probably gonna need both hands to be able to do that. And let's see how much we've got to take off. Right, so the underside of the light to the back of the TV stand is approximately 41 inches. So let's see where that is to here. Okay. So that's not too bad because we're not losing any artwork if you look below that. So my plan is to cut it and score it. So on the back of these you have the stand parts, right, that you fold out and then you can stand them upright. I don't have the room to do that. So what I've been doing is cutting these off. You can just simply pull them off, and then I've been keeping these in storage. So if I did ever want to just glue it back on, you can do that. So I'll be taking the back part off, and then what I'll probably do is, so as you can see, it's roughly about here, but I'll probably go slightly higher. So anyway, I'll probably score the back of this, so I'll cut it without going all the way through, and then fold it on itself underneath. This will all be hidden by the TV anyway, so it's still a fully functional standee. So if in the future I did want to change it around for whatever reason, I'll just have a slight bend in it, but I'll be able to pull that back out, just put the backs on theoretically if I wanted it to, and restore the standee pretty much back to how it was. There's probably people watching this, they'll be like, no, don't do that. I've had to lose that mentality because this is my forever home. This is my room, and I bought these things to display them. If I can't find the room or a way to display the things I've spent my money on, then what's the point in having them? There's no point in having them in storage. Even some of this stuff, like the one that came from the Red Dead, Undead, that's part of a 3D standee, so I took that piece off it. Ryu was part of a Red Bull display that was in America. There was like a Street Fighter Red Bull campaign when Street Fighter 5 first came out, and I actually cut this. I went for about 5 different razor blades and cut it. You can slightly see here, look, where that's part of the Red Bull promotion. But again, it's about making things work for you. This is my room, these are my things, and I'd rather have them on display and enjoy them than have them in storage. I also had to do something similar with this one. Now obviously the Grand Theft Auto standees are very expensive, but you'll see if you look down here, it just encroached on the plug sockets. So what I did was the same sort of method. I cut slightly down there, and then just across, and then just folded it down on itself. So this piece of the standee is sitting behind that, so it fits in perfectly there, and it meant I could place this exactly where I wanted it. But obviously, should I ever decide to move it, I can just pop that bit back up, put a bit of tape on the back, and aside from a straight line crease, it doesn't really affect it too much. So I understand there'll be people that will say, oh, you shouldn't do that, but listen, when you buy something and you own it, you can do what you want to it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be carefully scoring and cutting the back side of this, which I'll show you, so that I can get it where I want it up there. Okay, so got an old bed sheet protecting my TV. Last thing I want to do is scratch that. I've got a few bits and bobs that I'll need. And this is the reverse of the standee. So as I was saying, this is the standee piece. So for those of you that aren't really experienced, what happens is you fold these down, and then that enables them to be able to be stood up on the floor, which I don't have room to do that. So all the ones that I have on display on my walls, I've been taking the backs off. But like I say, keeping the back in storage, so that if I do ever want to use the standee as a standee again, I can just glue it on, because they are just simply held together with, well, look how easy that came off. There was no effort whatsoever. You can see, look, there's just a bit of glue. And this is like, what, 15-year-old glue, however long it's been since Ghost of Sparta came out, probably longer. It doesn't damage them at all. I think that, even that, look, it's irrelevant. It's just the back of it. So with that gone, we're now ready to start scoring this. So as we know, it's roughly here. I'll measure it again before, but then I'm going to draw a nice straight line. I'm going to score it with my Stanley knife, and then I'm going to be able to fold it back on itself, so that we can then put it on the wall and there'll be enough space for it to fit where we want it, theoretically. Wish me luck. Okay, so double checked the measurement from the very tip of the picture. I don't want it touching the LED light. I want it just below it. I think if you go right to it, it'll look a bit off. So I want like ½ an inch or so underneath it. I've measured down. Now that leaves us here, which is fine, because theoretically, if you look at this side and we go halfway to those lines, there's nothing underneath it, nothing of any note, nothing I'm interested in. As I say, the original plan was to sort of score it, so don't cut all the way through, and then fold it on itself. The issue we're going to have with that is, because we're having to fold so much, it's gonna, let me stand up, we'll see better. The issue is, if I cut all of that, when you then fold it on itself, it's going to stick out over here, and it's just going to look terrible. You know, one of the reasons why I take the backs off my standees is so that you don't then see the back. For example, if I had left the backing of this, you'd have a big piece of cardboard sticking out and it just looks terrible. So the last thing I want to do is display this and then have a big piece of cardboard sticking up over in this gap once it's on the wall. Hopefully I've explained that well enough. So I think I might just have to cut it. So what I might do is just do a really clean cut from the other side, take the whole thing off, but obviously keep it in storage so that down the line, if I did want to put it all back together, I could theoretically tape this back together with a nice piece of sort of parcel tape, put this back on it to add that rigidity, and all you'd have is sort of a line going across it. And to be honest, a lot of standees have lines in them anyway, because the way they're packaged, they're deliberately scored so you can fold them in half. So, but to be honest, I don't envisage ever needing to do that. This is my forever room, and that is pride of place up there. But you never know what's in the future, so we'll always future proof and keep this anyway. But yeah, now is the, what do you call it, nervous bit, I guess, of actually cutting into this, but I probably won't be filming, so I need to get this right. Okay, so because I've decided to take the whole section off, I've had to mark the front where I'm going to cut it, because obviously if you cut from the front with a knife, it'll leave a better finish on the front, even though you won't see it behind the TV, but you might as well make it as neat as possible. I've got the sand underneath to protect my carpet. I've got a straight edge for a Billy bookcase shelf that I'm going to cut along with my trusty knife. I've got a fresh new razor in there, so yeah. Next time you see me, this should be cut. Speaking of Billy bookcases, I've got a project that I'm going to be doing very shortly as well, so hopefully that'll be part of this vlog as well. Yeah, I've got some modifications to do to some of these shelves. But anyway, let's crack on with this. Okay, so it's done. It wasn't perfect. I made a little mistake at the start. I allowed the knife to guide me rather than forcing it up against the piece of wood I was using. So what happened is I ended up veering off slightly, as you can see here. It doesn't matter at all for this project, because this is the bit that's going to go against the TV stand, so it's going to be nice and straight, and obviously you're not going to see that anyway. But in the future, for when, oh, I say when, it's very unlikely, but if I was to ever put it back together, that piece is still there. It will still slot on, but I'm happy enough with that. As you can see, there's no real artwork on this piece at all, so nothing's being lost in terms of display. I'm out of breath. So now, let's get it above the TV. Right, so I've got my trusty stool to use. I'm going to blue tack it into place first, make sure I'm happy with it, take a step back, keep checking it. Then I will just be using these small nails to put it in its forever home. The way I tend to do it with the nails on standees is, so with this one for example, very expensive, very rare, old piece. Thankfully there's no need to ever cut this one, it's nice and small, and the actual stand at the back is still attached because it hardly protrudes at all, that tiny little piece. So as you can see, I've put a nail there, so I'm only putting a hole in the actual stand, not the actual thing itself. There's one or two others there, look, so you can see again, I've not actually put the nail in the standee, just in the gap. And that's how I tend to do it, especially with these ones. There is one in the bottom, two in the bottom, but the bottom's just a black thing anyway, so that little hole there doesn't matter. And it's not mint, there is the odd sign of wear anyway, but that tends to be how I do it. I try and strategically put the nails in where it's going to have the least impact possible. I'll try and show you a couple more on this Grand Theft Auto one here by the door. So you can see there's a nail there, like on the edge of where the black piece is. Yeah, and there's just a couple of others dotted throughout that you don't really see. Right there, look. Yeah, so it's about alleviating any damage where possible, but equally putting the display first. Right, let's do it. Whoop. Okay, so it's where I want it now. Excuse my voice, I've got nails in my mouth. I blue tacked it roughly in place, it keeps popping back up. But what I'm going to do is show you, take the nails out of my mouth. What I'm going to do is show you where I'm going to nail in. So this piece here where there's a bit of damage, and there's obviously no artwork, so that piece there will be getting nailed. What an expression. Up here, in that crease, where there's a bit of damage, I'll nail it there. And yeah, it's just finding the odd piece there. Look, there's a little bit of damage of the white, so I'll probably put one in there. Yeah, and a couple of others throughout, mixed with bits of blue tack on each corner. And yeah, it'll be nicely secured up here. But really happy with how it looks up here. Okay, so it's done. I'm really happy with it. Cue the God of War music, and I'll show you guys the final unveil. So yeah, I think it looks awesome. I think it complements that space perfectly, especially with the height on the figure. As I say, it's perfect distance. I didn't want it touching the light, so there is like that ½ inch gap that I spoke about. And yeah, I just think it's filled that space really nicely. Flip the camera around. There is a lot of nice artwork that you can't quite see, but that's nothing to do with me cutting it. That's just simply because of where the television is. So this kind of the lower part of his body, but the main part is on display, and really happy with it. And like I said, guys, I buy these things to display them. I don't buy them as a collector as such, which is why I've been happy enough to cut it. We will be just looking at that in a bit more detail on a future video actually, but this will be going into my storage collection, just so I've got it should I ever want to put it back together or anything like that. Speaking of which, I'll take you guys to have a look at what was the old Retro Ghetto 2.5, which is now a bit of a storage room. Yeah, there's all sorts in there. One last look. Before we go and have a look at the old 2.5 though, I must say, I'm really enjoying these Lego orchids. The missus is not going to let me keep them in here. She's already got a place in the house for them, but you know what, I just think it adds a nice little touch in here. What do you reckon, guys? Shall I get myself some Lego orchids for the room? Master Chief seems to like it. What are you saying, Quentin? You a fan? Pop them there. Right, here we are in the room of doom. My current personal shame, what the missus reminds me every day, I've got to get sorted out. So for those of you that used to watch, or have always watched the videos, this is where I used to record. Look how tiny this room is. This was the Retro Ghetto 2.5. This is very much a box room. And I used to have all my SNES games in this corner, blocking out the window. I used to sit right there. I used to have my camera set up somewhere here. And yeah, I usually should have cabinets all the way around this room. And I had a TV there with the unit still below it. And that was pretty much the room, which is why I've been wanting to build the Retro Ghetto 3.0 so badly, and why so much stuff's been in storage. But there's still loads to get through. I've got boxes and boxes of toys, really cool stuff. You know, expensive toys. I don't want to overfill my room. Which is why I've not got this stuff in the room. These I really want to get in somehow into the 3.0. The Mortal Kombat 11 Collector's Edition masks. I've got Scorpion down there and Sub-Zero. I'd love to fit them in somehow. Pac-Man like. More boxes of toys. There's my life-size Link that I just had to accept defeat. This needs a little bit of work. My plan is next year to modify this. Not modify it, but fix it. There's a couple of issues that need fixing. And then I'll probably have to sell it. So if anyone's interested in buying a life-size Link, hit me up. Boxes for certain things that I don't want to throw away. I've had to accept that I have to throw away a lot of boxes. Arsenal Town, top of the league, just saying. And then we make our way here, past the Christmas decorations. And I've just got so many standees. This isn't even all of them. This is just some of them. The wall of VHS. But yeah, so much stuff in here that can be used. Some really cool pieces. That Zelda that I picked up in Ibiza. Those of you that were watching when I did my Ibiza game hunt, shout out to you. Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine. This was a really rare and expensive one I had to get in from America. So this was a standee for the Batman Arkham Asylum game that I don't think ever came out in the UK. There's a Super Nintendo SNES box there. These are some of the backs, as I spoke about, for standees that I've taken off that are currently on the wall in the 3.0. The big oversized GameCube Super Metroid display. I'm dropping a PlayStation 2 on the floor. OG Xbox, which I don't even have any games for. Wii U peripherals. So this is another piece of that Red Dead Undead Nightmare standee that I spoke about. Mario Odyssey standee. I need to sell this. There's definitely some value in this. Street Fighter standee from Street Fighter 4. Love this, but just didn't have room for it. It's not in the best condition. It's a little bit faded. Another one that I wish I'd find room for, and I'm still hoping maybe one day. Donkey Kong Country Returns. I mean, it's an amazing standee, this one. not for the Super Nintendo obviously, that returns for the 3DS, but a really nice piece. This Gears of War 3 standee. I don't know what the other piece of that is, but that's a really nice standee if I can find it. Another Mario Sunshine. I mean, there's just boxes full. There's so many, too many to even go through. That's part of the Dark Knight trilogy ones that are on the wall. These look like, you couldn't even, these are like, I don't know, 7 foot tall. There's Batman and there's Catwoman that we just had in storage. They actually form like a big triangle. I think these were like a cinema display that I managed to get. Yeah, something else that I need to get rid of. What else have we got in here? All sorts. Like I said, there's too many standees and stuff to show you, but this is a really cool piece. I don't think I've ever shown on the channel. So this is Mario Kart, but it's signed by Charles Martinet, and he put my name on it, and it's got a little bit damaged now because I've not looked after it enough whilst it's been in storage. But yeah, Super Callum, you're number 1, Mario, Charles Martinet. So yeah, it was nice to meet him. I didn't realise that was a bit bent at the top, so I need to store that a bit better. God of War promo piece here. I love the artwork on this. So this is like a triangular piece again that folds into itself. I've never seen this artwork anywhere else. Love that. It's part of the God of War PS2. So this is something I would like to display, but again, I don't want to overcrowd my room, so it's really hard to make decisions on what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. There was also my smaller Bang & Olufsen MX4000 CRT TV, which I've had to move into storage because again, it's one of them things that I've got no need or room for in my room, but I don't want to get rid of it. Another Street Fighter promo, Red Dead Redemption. It's a nice piece here. Smash Bros. All the Smash Brothers characters on. You could actually cut this and have like a long display. This could potentially go underneath my window. We'll see. Maybe I'll get to it one day. Yeah, all sorts, guys. And a random peanut M&M guy. So yeah, there's so much going on in this room. This is what I came in here for. I'm gonna need this for a future project, which you'll be seeing on this vlog, but yeah, I've really got to get working through this room of doom. I best do some sorting out in here, or I might be sleeping on the sofa tonight. Speaking of tonight, I'm going to see Avatar actually. I'm going to cinema to see Avatar, so yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think about that. I'm not expecting much. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours since I last checked in, and whilst you might have thought I was cleaning the old 2.5, I'd be lying. I've been playing Cuphead. It's the sort of game that once it pulls you in, you know, you're stuck. How far along am I? Let's have a look. Try and do this with one hand. Right, so I've done 2 bosses on the second world. I actually put on my Instagram about one of these things that took me like a whole day to complete, and then I worked out why. So I did the first world. Obviously it's challenging, the whole game's challenging, but not too bad. Started on the second world, but what I didn't realise when I finished the first world is, and I went across to what I thought was world 2, I actually went to the DLC. So this level here, Moonshine Mob, this took me like a full day to beat. Like, and then the game even trolls you. It lets you think you've won, and then you put your joystick down, you start celebrating, and then it carries on, and ultimately you get killed. But the reason I find it so difficult is because I went from World 1 to DLC without realising. So I've gone from like entry level to like what people should be doing once they finish the game. I was not ready. It took me a long time. I thought this was level 2. I thought, wow, the difficulty's really ramped up, but then I figured out why it was so hard. But yeah, I'm currently working my way through World 2. I absolutely adore this game. The next video on the mainline episodes will probably be video games completed in 2022. I have got to compile a list because I've lost it, but I've completed loads of great games this year. And I'm going to be making a video looking at all the games I've completed. I don't think this will quite make the list because I don't think I'll finish it in time, but one of the games that I will be able to put on the list is a game that I'm going to be playing a bit more of now, and that is God of War Ragnarok. I'm going to christen the new standee by playing a bit of God of War. I have completed the game. It took me over 70 hours. I don't want to talk about it too much because obviously I'll be giving my thoughts on it on the games completed video, but Just doing all the other stuff now. I'm contemplating potentially going towards getting the platinum trophy. So yeah, there's a few other things that I need to get done. But yeah, I'm going to play that for a bit before I go to the cinema, and then I'll be checking in with you guys soon. Retro Ghetto. Okay, so it's been a couple of days, I think, since I last spoke to you guys. I was really busy yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to do much in here or do any vlogging, obviously. Last I spoke to you guys, I think I told you I was going to go and see Avatar, so I'll give my thoughts on that. Right, firstly, old man rant. Why is it so expensive? Ridiculous. No wonder people stream things, right, and use these sticks and that, because, yeah, I find it ridiculously priced. I know I'm getting old, and the world is expensive generally now, right, but you go through, you make your selection. And this was no cinema deluxe. This wasn't anything special. This was a bog standard cinema. And I think the price was, I think it was about £15 each. So me and the missus went, and it's like, okay, you pay a bit more for 3D, so I wanted to watch it in 3D. And then when you get to the end of the checkout, it's like you have to pay, I think it was £3 more to get 3D glasses. And it's like, well, what am I paying extra for the 3D in the first place? You're just charging me more to show it in 3D, which makes no sense. If it was up to me, I think they should just rewrite the whole business model. I think it should be like a $5 a film, and I think they'd get more people, more bums on seats if it was less expensive, and subsequently make more money. But what do I know, right? So anyway, you pay all that money. I think it cost me and the missus something like 35 quid, which is a lot of money to watch one film, right? But anyway, actually, before I finished that rant, there was a woman in front of me when you go in and show your tickets, and she had 4 kids with her. So she walked in and said, you know, five people. And then he was like, do you need 3D glasses? She said yes. And then he said, oh, can I see your receipt? And she hadn't bought the 3D glasses. So I started thinking, how much did it cost her to go? It's like, what, 5 people at what, £15 a ticket? Then paying for all the 3D glasses. It's crazy, spending well over £100 to watch a film. Anyway, that's that rant over. The film itself, surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. I'm a very harsh film and TV critic, more so than I am video games. I'm a lot more forgiving with games, but with film and TV, I'm a very harsh critic. I'm known for it amongst my family and friends. Like, if I say something's good, then it's good, right? I enjoyed it. The first film I thought was okay. I didn't love it. I watched it a couple of times in, what, the 12 years it's been out. I thought it was okay. I was intrigued enough to go and see the second one. It was just an excuse to go out with the missus. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised, and as much as I was moaning about the cost, I do think 3D was the way to watch it. Visually, it was very impressive. And having seen mixed reviews on it, I didn't expect much, which probably helps going into a film. But yeah, very pleasantly surprised. So yeah, I'd recommend it if anyone's on the fence about watching it. But back to the task at hand. I've got some more jobs to do in here today. I've got some more modifications that I want to be cracking on with. Spin the camera around. There was one change in here that I forgot to show you guys last time. It's changed since the room tour, and that was this. I previously had the covers on the speakers. I'll just put one back on to show you the difference. I'll leave it on actually. Yeah, I took them off. The Technics, I just think it looks better without them. I don't know, it just looks more badass, if you want for a better word, right? What do you think? I think it's better without. So yeah, we're leaving them off. Small change, but nonetheless. Okay, let's get into it then. The big job for today, today's mission. So a lot of collectors have Billy bookcases. They just make sense. They do the job. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But unlike a lot of collectors, I like my games and my media to be pushed up against the front. Personally, I just think it looks better. I think it looks neater, and I like to have it right up against this piece here, as opposed to have it all pushed back. So a lot of people will have it like that, which has its benefits. You can get games in and out easier. You haven't got to worry about messing it up. So whilst I think this looks better, it is a pain in the backside when, for example, if you want to grab a game, take a game out, by the time you put the game back in, it all becomes a mess. Everything gets pushed back and forwards, and you spend more time trying to put the shelf back together than you do actually enjoying the game you took out. So I've thought of a solution which will hopefully work and hopefully give you guys a bit of a tip as well. So I'll show you what that is. Well, that has not gone as planned. I cleared this shelf, Carrying the games over here. What happens when you try to carry too many games? Rookie error. Also, if you watch my vlog when I put this room together, all of these games got polished because I used a furniture polish to take the stickers off and stuff. So they are very, I don't know what the word is. Not slippy, but because they've been polished, they just slide off each other. So, yeah, rookie error. All these are alphabetized, so I'll have to do that again. Whilst I'm on the old man rant though, speaking about prices of cinemas, before we get back into this, might be a lot of ranting on these vlogs. We've got to talk about this. Mrs. and all my friends and family laughed at me for this. So this is a blind, right? This blind cost me £155. I know, ridiculous. Crazy, right? I just wanted to rant about it. It's what? A 3-inch blind? £155. The reason being is I wanted one of these, what do they call them? Made to measure? I can't remember what they call them now. Magic Fit? I don't know, I'll put it on the screen. But because it's such a small window anyway, there's only like one company that made them this small. So it cost me £155, I didn't have a choice for what is essentially a 3-inch window. But the other option was to what? Put in a roller blind up here, and they're just messy, aren't they? And then by the time it falls down here, I've lost all this shelf space, so it won't look as clean, and I won't have this option to house anything on here. So whilst I do think it was stupidly expensive, no regrets, because I think it was the best option. I mean, I've come this far with trying to do everything right in the room. I didn't want to sort of scrape on the window, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. Stupid, right? So yeah, I'm not going to think about that anymore. Right, so back to this mess I've made. The plan is to take out this shelf. And then I'm going to measure the depth of the game, so standard DVD in this case. I'm going to mark it. It's a nice straight line. Give myself a couple of mil, so it's not like, you know, overhanging or anything. Draw the line all the way down, and then these you can pick up anywhere, like wicks, and basically what they're for is hiding wires, cables. So if we go back over here, you'll see I've used one here for my wires that go to the TV. But what's good about them, on the reverse they have a sticky back plastic. So you just peel that and then they stick and they're that easy to use. My plan is to stick it along the shelf. Right? Try and do this with one hand. Stick it like that, in the perfect length, cut it obviously, and then I should be able to stack all my games up and it should just automatically be pushed up against that, so I don't have to worry too much about them getting all pushed back into the shelf. So theoretically that should be an easy fix, and then I'll obviously then go around and do the whole room eventually, but I'll just film this one for you guys to see how it turns out. Let's see. Also, while I'm here, this is what these vlogs are for, right? Just showing off all kinds of different things that normally won't get shown on the channel. You guys probably won't know, I'm a big trainer guy. I'm what the Americans call a sneakerhead. I do collect trainers, in particularly Air Max ones. I did take delivery of this pair, so yeah, just thought I'd share these whilst they're here. Yeah. So, toys and games isn't the only thing I collect. I've got issues with trainers as well, so anyway, enough of that. Let's get this shelf done. Okay, so I've measured the line using a game, and what I'm now going to do is cut this to the right length. I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, so with the magic of camera work, you'll see this done. Okay, so that's now been stuck into place. I mean, theoretically, you don't have to put this back on the top. I guess it'll give it a bit more rigidity. If you wanted to be cost effective, I suppose you could put glue on this side and put that up against a different shelf, because I think, you know, even that would probably just about give you enough support to stop the games from being moved. But for now, I'm just going to pop this over the top and then hopefully show you guys what it looks like once the games are on. Okay, so the shelf's back in place. I'm ready to put the games on. Got YouTube on in the background. Shout out to Dan Lads Gaming. I'm not sure what Tommy's up to. He's trying to tell us something with that. Make sure you check it out, Dan Lads Gaming, if you haven't already. Right, let's get these games put back into alphabetical order and get them on the shelf. Okay, so the shelf is in place. Got my first few games here that are in alphabetical order again. I hope this works. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Perfection. Right. Cut. Alright, let's get the rest of these on. And before I fill the rest of this shelf up, what I want to say is you've still got all this space at the back here. So you know, if there's anything you want to hide, whether it be like empty boxes to toys or wires, controllers, whatever it may be, things you don't need on a regular basis but you just want to put in the room but out the way, there's loads of space back here. You know, take advantage of it. Right, so I'm well happy, not only with hearing about Tommy's bedroom gymnastics, get in lad, but look how perfectly this has worked out. I mean, you guys won't appreciate exactly how much this means to me because the amount of time I've spent doing this and then trying to figure them all out. Now they're perfect, I can just grab a game, it goes back in. Yeah, top tip. So if anybody else wants to display their games like this on a bookcase, I definitely recommend using this trick. Obviously I've got a lot more of those things to buy and a lot more shelves to get done. I'm not in a rush to do it, but over time I'll just do the odd one here and there until I've got them all done. But I don't think it could have been any better really. I've left that couple of mil at the front, which is what I wanted. Yeah, another job done. Happy with that. What do you think, Rio? Alright. Okay, so off the back of my success with the Xbox 360 shelf, I've decided to come and get myself some fresh air. And by fresh air, what I mean is go to the local charity shop, see if they got any games for me. So yeah, figured I'd bring you guys along. Hello. How are you, Tom? You alright, mate? Okay, so I'm back from the charity shop, and as you probably saw in the footage, there was a few games in the back room waiting for me, but had to pick this one up, right? I mean, you don't get too many PlayStation 2 games with sleeve covers, so yeah, always nice to pick up games like this. This is Tomb Raider Lara Croft Legend, decent condition as well, so yeah, happy with that. Nice little bit of fresh air. I think that's pretty much going to be it for this vlog. I think we've covered what we're going to be covering going forwards. Really, it's just going to be me in this room making some changes, the little game hunts, charity shop visits, CEX, that kind of stuff. But like I say, just generally things that I don't think will make a full video. But let me know if you enjoyed this kind of vlog. Let me know if you enjoy these, you want me to make more. Hit the thumbs up if you do, just so I know that there's an interest in this kind of thing, because from my point of view, I mean, I'm doing this stuff anyway, so might as well film it, right? And let you good people see what we're getting up to here in the Retro Ghetto 3.0. So yeah, hopefully this will be the start of many vlogs to come. I'd like to think we can do this on a weekly basis, put it out on a Sunday, but obviously if there's nothing happening, it's not worth putting it out. I'm not going to be putting out an episode that's just me sitting here playing games. So if I'm doing stuff and I'm making changes in the room, then I'll keep putting these updates out. But rest assured, like I say, it's not going to impact the mainline videos. If you do see one of these videos on a Wednesday, it's probably because the video I'm working on is taking a bit of time, and it might be taking a couple of weeks behind the scenes to get the video ready. I do actually have a day out planned soon where I'll be doing some very exciting game hunting and toy hunting and all that good stuff, so hopefully that's going to be coming to the channel soon. But yeah, really happy with what we've covered on this vlog. Got the standee, did the shelving, found a game, can't really ask for much more than that. So thank you for everybody that's tuned in.
When you're seeing this, I don't know, it should be in and around New Year, so Happy New Year to everybody. And yeah, as always, play your games, keep it retro. See you soon, in a bit.
Retro Ghetto.